Dear students of class 4, I am Mrs. Neha Makkad, and today in this video we are going to study the poem The Snare by James Stephens. So before we start the recitation and explanation of the poem, let me tell you something about the poet James Stephens. James Stephens was an Irish novelist and poet. He was born and brought up in the city of Dublin, which is in the country Ireland. And he is known for retellings of Irish myths and fairy tales, and he has written several original novels and book of poems. Students, in this poem, he describes how a rabbit or a hare gets caught in a snare. Snare is nothing but a kind of trap for animals. And the pain and the cries of the rabbit are heard by a child. So, students, first we will start with the recitation and then the explanation stanza by stanza. So, the poem The Snare is written by James Stephens. I hear a sudden cry of pain. There is a rabbit in a snare. Now I hear the cry again, but I cannot tell from where. He is calling out for aid, crying on the frightened air, making everything afraid. So now students, in the first stanza, the poet hears the painful cry of a rabbit stuck in a snare. As I told you, that snare is a kind of trap for animals. And in the second stanza, the poet is describing about the air which is full of the cries, making everyone and everything sad and frightening. Now children, a snare is a piece of wire formed into a circular loop, as you can see in the picture, and a hunter finds a path going through the rabbit's burrow and he places the snare, the trap there, and when the rabbit runs along that path, the rabbit gets trapped in the snare, and with the tightening of the loop, circular loop of the wire, the rabbit gets caught. So this is a snare, a piece of wire formed into a circular loop so that the leg or the foot of the animals get trapped and the hunter can catch it. So the poet here is saying children, that I hear a sudden cry of pain. So what is sudden, children? Something which is occurring or happening very quickly. So very quickly he hears a cry of pain. So what is a cry? A cry is a shout or a scream to express the fear or pain or sadness of that particular person or animal. So very quickly he is hearing a shout or a scream of the animal which is showing its fear, pain and sadness. And what is there? There is a rabbit, there is a hare stuck in the snare, that is the trap of the animal. Now I hear the cry again. So the poet or this child hears the cry again, but I cannot tell from where. So as you can even see in the picture, children, that is given on page number 67 of the textbook, the child is searching, but behind the bushes, the hare or the rabbit is there, and therefore the child is unable to see it, and therefore it is saying that, but I cannot tell from where. So the path near the burrow of the rabbit, there are many bushes there. There is lot of grass there, and because of which the poet or the child is unable to see the hare, the rabbit. He is calling out for aid. Aid means, children, help. The rabbit is crying for help and crying on the frightened air, making everything afraid. So frightened is again something which makes you feel afraid, worried or anxious, and making everything afraid. So again, afraid is a feeling of fear. So in this stanza, as we are studying, that the atmosphere is full of cries, full of sadness, and full of that the rabbit is afraid, the rabbit is feeling fearful, worried or anxious. making everything afraid, wrinkling up his little face, and he cries again for eight, I cannot find the place. So now children here, wrinkling up his little face. So wrinkling means forming lines or folds on the face. Sometimes it is because of aging, but here the wrinkling of the little face is because of the fear or the anxiety, the worriedness of not seeing the animal and unable to help him. So here children, the child who has seen the rabbit crying, what happens is that he is very sensitive to the animal's condition and he is feeling very helpless, means as he is not able to help the rabbit out, the child is feeling very helpless and he understands the pain of the rabbit, but again he is not able to do anything to relieve the rabbit from its pain. And here the cruel actions of the human beings of hunting the living creatures down is also being talked about. So the child is worried and that is putting the lines and folds on his face and that is causing worriedness on his face, and he cries again for aid. Aid again, as I told you, help. The rabbit is crying for help, but again the boy or the child is not able to see the place. I cannot find the place where the snare is there, where the rabbit is caught. I cannot find the place. This repetition of these lines are telling that the child is very worried and he's feeling very helpless of not able to help the rabbit out, where his paw is in the snare. So children, this paw is the animal's foot. As you can see in the picture also, what is caught in the snare? The animal's foot or paw is caught in the snare, the trap. Little one, oh little one, I am searching everywhere. So who's the little one? The rabbit or the hare is the little one, and I am searching everywhere. So he's searching, as you can see in the picture, the boy is searching for the rabbit everywhere and he's unable to find it. So basically children, this theme of the poem is about hunting the animals down and how much pain we give to the animals, and it is also being so insensitive towards the animals. So we should be sensitive towards animals and we should not hunt them down. So that is being talked about in this poem. Thank you children.